Tammy Smith.
We don't want to start with that.
Tammy Smith is here.
Ow!
I didn't even touch you. I have right.
I'd like to call to order the regular session of the Bossier Parish School Board for Thursday, February 6, 2020. We will have opening prayer by Mr. Slack and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Bullard. Mr. Downey, do we have any prayer requests?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bamberg, Coach Bo Meeks at Airline High School will be having a tumor removed next week, I believe, Monday at MD Anderson. So keep him in your prayers as well as his family. Our own Sam Darby is battling the flu, so please keep her in mind. Wendy Hendricks, teacher at Stockwell, continues to go through the process to battle cancer. And Michael Pedroti, the assistant principal at Halton Middle School, has a weak immune system, and he's battling seasonal, I guess the flu or flu-like symptoms. So he'll continue to be in our prayers as he regains his strength. Thank you, Mr. Bamberg.
Pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for many blessings you continue to bestow upon us. Father, we pray for those that have been mentioned by the superintendent. Special prayer, especially Coach Meeks over at Airline High School. Pray for his experience down in Houston. Pray for this school, every member, for their families as well. Father, we pray for the business that we're going to take up tonight. Pray that your will be done in that respect. Forgive us our sins. In Christ's name we ask. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please join in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.02, approval of the minutes of the regular session of the board for January 23rd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Newman, second by Ms. Brotherton. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 1.03, approval of the agenda for the regular session of the board for February 6, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. First, motion by Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Cheatham. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.01, a request, consider and take action with respect to adopting a resolution accepting the lowest and best bid received for the purchase of $25 million of general obligation school bonds, Series 2020, of parish-wide school district of the parish of Bossier, state of Louisiana, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. That will be presented by Brennan Black, Foley, and Judell.
Good evening. Yesterday we received bids for the purchase of your $25 million of general obligation bonds. We received 7 bids. The best bidder was from Robert W. Baird with a purchase price of just over $27 million and a true interest cost of about 2.1%. And you can see the 7 bids that were received there. Raymond James has recommended that you guys accept that bid as it is the lowest and best bid received. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, but it was a successful sale.
Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Newman. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. 3.02 is a report, Buildings and Grounds Planning and Development Committee meeting held February 4th by Ms. Billy Jo Brotherton, and it will also encompass item 3.03, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ms. Billy Jo?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Buildings and Ground Committee met on February the 4th at 5 o'clock here at BIC. We did have enough that day for a quorum. There were 8 items on the agenda. 3 of those were discussion only, and 5 were for required action. Number 1, the first one was the committee recommends that the Bossier Parish School Board adopt the attached resolution for sale for 20 acres more or less west of 4670 Highway 80 East, Houghton, Louisiana, and authorize the superintendent and president to sign related documents. And this passed unanimously.
Okay, this is out of committee. Any questions? Please vote. Motion carries.
2, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board approve the use of Elm Grove Middle School for Camp Invention 2020 on June 1st through the 5th, 2020, as recommended by Principal Jennifer Armand in accordance with the Bossier Parish School Board policy and procedures. And at this time, I'd like to just let you know that as requested by Mr. Cheatham Tuesday night, Mr. Rowland got with Mr. Rogers and Mr. Self, and they looked into the legalities and the insurance, and everything was above board. Everything's good. It checked out. This was passed in committee unanimously.
Okay, this is out of committee. Any questions? Please vote. Motion carries.
Next one, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board authorize bidding of Houghton High School new classroom wing and administration building at the cost not to exceed the funds available for construction, which is $13,513,486, and funded by the 2012 Bond Construction Fund. This was unanimous. Passed.
Okay, this somehow made it out of the committee. Ms. Billy Jo. Any questions?
Let's vote
She says let's vote. Vote.
quickly.
Hurry. It's been a long time coming for Hall High School.
Crazy. Okay, number 4, thank you. The committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board authorize bidding of Benton Intermediate School Classroom Wing Addition at the cost not to exceed the funds available for construction, which is $2,890,500, funded by the 2012 Bond Construction Fund. This was also passed unanimously.
Okay, this is out of committee. Any questions? Please vote.
Number 5.
Make sure we get the new classroom wing real quick. Motion carries.
5, the committee recommends the Bossier Parish School Board authorize bidding of Cope Middle School Classroom Wing Addition at the cost not to exceed the funds available for construction, which is $1,766,000, and funded by the 2012 Bond Construction Fund. This also passed out of committee unanimously.
Okay, out of committee. Any questions? Please vote. Motion carries.
The next 3 items were for discussion only. No action was required. We discussed Benton Middle storm damage for the Benton Middle School. We discussed that, and Mr. Roger gave us, and Mr. Rogers gave us updates. Then we also discussed Houghton High School, an update on the bleacher improvements. And we also, Mr. Babineau gave us updates on the 2012 bond construction. That is all of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Billy Jo. I have a question by Mr. Bullard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a comment. If you just pause for a moment and reflect back, tonight we are basically wrapping up something that started 8+ years ago. And thanks in large part to our current Vice President, Ms. Smith. She was at the time the president when we took this before the voters, and it was approved. And I thought it ironic the other night, you started as president and we're going to finish it, and you're our vice president. But we pretty much wrap it up, and we're well ahead of schedule. In this last batch of bonds, all of our bonds have sold very low. And from what I've been told, this is the lowest, not just for us, but it's close to a historical low for the sale of school general obligation bonds. So I think, Mr. Slack, your prayers must be working for us, because we've been blessed. And it's a compliment to everybody here and those that came before us that we've gotten this, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, Mr. Buller. And I think I'll also comment on that, because we've been in the trenches, and everybody in this room has been battling for their own districts with their schools and their projects that people in their district are asking them for, and especially when we got down to where the big rocks were kind of out of it and trying to figure that part out. But we all made it through. We all came out. I mean, it's a friendly board that we get along, and there's not a lot of political bodies, I think, that operate as well as the Bossier Parish School Board. So kudos to all of my members here for the way that we handle ourselves on a daily basis when we're fighting for our districts. And with that, we will go to 3.09, approval of trip requests.
These are in order, Mr. President.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Brotherton, second by Mr. Dean. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 4.01, announcements and superintendent's comments.
Thank you, President Bamberg. The LSBA Annual Convention is February 16th through the 18th in Baton Rouge. Bossier Parish School Board schools and centers will be closed February 17th for President's Day. The next regular session of the Bossier Parish School Board will be February 20th, 6 p.m. here at the BIC. That concludes my announcement.
Thank you, Superintendent Downey. Item 5.01, Mr. Slack. We have a motion by Mr. Slack, a second by Mr. Bullard. Please vote.
Okay. Did we break our record?
No, we did not.
Wait.
Did we break our record?
Not yet. Motion carries, meeting adjourned.